Do you like reading books? And would you ever expect them to be banned due to the message held within the book? Well, today I'm here to tell you yes, they can be. And the book that we'll be talking about today is known as The Color Purple. This book was banned for many controversial reasons, and it was banned in 1986. But before we talk about why the book was banned, we'll be giving context of what the book was about.
The Color Purple was created in 1982 and was created by Alice Walker, who was inspired by Love Triangle and was also inspired by how the world was during that time period. One important thing that had been in the book was racism, which was still happening at the time. In 1982, a man named Grover Cleveland was made the President of the United States. As the president, he tried to restore political dominance to the southern region, trying to support their ideals, and with that, we can dive into the book. The book takes place between 1909 and 1947 in South rural Georgia, but it's later moved to Tennessee towards the end of the story. The main characters are Shelly, which is the protagonist, Nettie, the protagonist's sister, Shug Avery, Albert, Harpo, and Sophia. Shelly is very quiet and unexpressive, but she only expresses herself through the letters to God that she writes, since she was told to never tell anyone anything by her father, so she writes to God. She's not well educated, and she is known as really ugly in the story. But by the end of the book, she becomes more confident, expressive, and educated because of Shug and her sister, and Nettie, which causes her to realize that she is beautiful.
I'm poor, black, I may even be ugly, but dear God, I'm here. I'm here.
Nettie is the opposite of Shelly. She is expressive, loud, educated, and pretty because she has to be that way to protect her sister from the world, which she does all the way till the end. Shug Avery is also similar to Nettie by helping Shelly stand up for herself towards Mr. Albert, but she's also talented because she chose to sing in the blues instead of in the church where her father wanted her to be. And she later finds out how truly important it was to stay in the church.
See, Daddy, sinners have soul too.
Albert is the man that Shelly was forced to marry and who was the boyfriend of Shug Avery. Albert is violent, abusive, and chaotic throughout the story until in the end he changes after realizing the wrong he did to Shelly, trying to do good by her after everything he and his kids did to her.
I'll do right. Dear God, I'll do right. I'll do right.
Harpo is the son of Albert, who is trying to live up to be him, but can't because he's too soft. He marries a girl named Sophia, who he couldn't control, so he tries to beat her, which leads to a divorce. Later on, we see him act more like his father, who is violent, but still a little soft. Sophia is Harpo's first wife, who later becomes part of the family after giving birth to the children of Harpo. She's strong, independent, expressive, and confident, not letting no man or woman lay a finger on her, and if they did, she would beat them. Later on, that changes after she gets into a racial confrontation with the white mayor, which leads her to become quiet, less confident, weak, and less expressive. With all those characters' attributes, it led to so many conflicts in the story. One major conflict being the mistreatment/abuse Shelly dealt with throughout the story. She experienced sexual, physical, and verbal abuse from many men, and she was forced away from her sister, not knowing whether she was alive or dead. But because of the people she had by her side, they helped her gain the confidence she needed to fight against Albert's violent behavior, and to later find out what had actually happened to her sister. In the story, they used many literary devices to emphasize important parts of the story, like point of view, motifs, and imagery. These were important because we could see and understand the viewpoints of both Shelly and Nettie after Shelly had found a letter from Nettie, which caused them to write to each other back and forth, which had been point of view. But before Shelly started writing to Nettie, Shelly wrote to God, and this can be seen as a motive because we can see how much he relies on him because of the way Shelly thinks. She sees God as a man with so much power. But later on in the story, it's revealed that God isn't a man or a woman, but a thing that you believe in because you have faith. Imagery is also important because it helps us understand how Shelly was living in the conditions she's living in, with the abuse, and how her life is with her living in a time where racism was still a big topic.
Not only did it go with racism, but it also brought up great topics that surfaced during the reading of the book. Topics such as, equal rights, education importance, and abuse. Equal rights was huge because it's shown by Nettie, Shug, and Sophia. They show how they are capable of handling things like men. During that time period, women were suppressed, discriminated against, and were held at even low standards because they were women. But they rose up against those stereotypes and achieved their goals. Not only were they women, but they were black too, and during that time it was worse for them. Nettie made it to Africa and shows that black women can become more and can even become missionaries, which was not common at the time. Shug Avery was a singer who rose to riches, and Sophia stood up for herself and would not let herself be hit and taken advantage of, which shows how women are capable of being on their own and accomplishing things even during a time where they were suppressed. The second topic that we see is abuse, and we see this from Celie getting abused by many different men, and not only her, but Nettie as well. Their father, and Albert. But, that all, stops when both of them escape from the clutches of those men, which shows that abuse can come from anyone. Another topic that we saw was the importance of education. Because in the book, Nettie teaches Celie how to read and write at the ripe age of 14. Other topics that are brought into the book that we still deal with today are abuse, racism, homosexuality, and imprisonment metaphorically. In the story, abuse came in many shapes and forms, whether it was rape or violence, which affect many of the female characters and suppress them into thinking they were less. Not only did it affect the characters in the story, but it also affected many women in the 1900s, and it's a huge problem that's still going on now. But in the story, racism was used to emphasize how hard it was for them still during that time period, because we know that some stuff was affected and many people don't truly know how they were affected. But we do know that many times they were often segregated or attacked by white people, and this is explored in the story because the mayor's wife, who was white, saw Sophia with her kids and asked her if she could work with her. Sophia denied this request in a rude way because she knew that she was being racially profiled.
As you can see, those are some reasons why the book was banned, and not only because of those reasons, but because of other controversial reasons. But who banned the book, and for what reasons did they do it for? The book was banned in 1984 after a parent made a petition against the book in a classroom in Oakland, California. After that, many parents agreed to support the petition against the book, trying to ban it. After seeing how many people wanted it banned, the author wrote an essay to contribute to the petition to remove the book from all public libraries. But before the book was banned, they were put on a shelf one last time, which caused many people to purchase the item before its complete removal from all shelves. Censors and parents had many problems with the controversial topics, but the topics that were the main issue were religious objections, homosexuality, violence, African history, rape, incest, drug abuse, explicit language, and sexual scenes.
With all of these reasons, it seemed rational to censors to try to ban this book because of the controversial themes in it, like racism, abuse, and a couple more. Because of the topics like incest, sexual themes, and explicit content, it caused some to argue that the book should be censored or even banned, to make sure that less mature audiences do not discover these types of books. But we disagree with that, and we believe that readers should be able to read whatever they want, whenever they want. It should also be put back into school libraries because to gain knowledge of the past, you must be able to understand it. This applies to books as well, and if we know about the past, we can ensure that this type of described content will not occur again.